Hey, didn't see you there. So it is mid-August, which for a lot of people, that means it's officially spooky season. And I don't know, this place isn't looking spooky enough for me. What do you think? Should we do something about it? Okay. See, that's better, right? Okay, now that I'm in full spooky season mode, I can get started telling you about what we're doing today. It's a big one, and literally, I'm going to be making a giant pumpkin, a giant jack-o'-lantern actually. And it's going to be made out of primarily wood, plastic mesh or chicken wire, and a ton of spray foam. And to minimize on the amount of spray foam that I have to use, I'm going to be stuffing the chicken wire wood structure with a lot of thrift store pillows that I got for like $1 a piece. And I'm hoping that will allow me to spray foam on top of that. This is something so out of my wheelhouse, but I'm really excited to do it. I've been watching some videos on how to do this sort of chicken wire sculpture. Shout out to Kayakasaurus, has some awesome videos on sculpting, particularly the one that I'm thinking about. This video, it's a Stegus something. The first step is going to be taking 2 large pieces of wood and then making them into this, essentially, like a cross, a big X. Yeah, that X is going to be on maybe a wood base. I'm trying to cut down on the weight here, so maybe cardboard. Don't worry, everything's going to be coated eventually with something that is hopefully weatherproof. We don't get a lot of rain in October, but you know, I don't want it to just like melt the first night I put it out. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. So let's go out to the warehouse and get started. Oh, but I don't think this is gonna work for manual labor, so. Oh, there you are. Okay, so now I'm ready to get to work. Clearly in my shittiest of shitty clothes, so I can get dirty and gross. Widescreen now. There, now you can see my disgusting mess behind this beautiful backdrop that I've prepared. Gonna take 2 giant pieces of wood from over yonder. This is gonna be the base of the entire structure. The other one is identical to this, but I'm gonna take one of them, slice it down almost all the way down the middle so that I can kind of make them into an X and then mount them onto some sort of base that I've got to figure out. Let's get cutting. Yeah, so that worked. That's all I really needed for the main plywood armature for this. My next step is going to be putting on this foam mat that I got at one of those like cheap hardware stores for super duper cheap. It's like a hack for cosplay to use instead of EVA foam, which is great. But I have a ton of it left over from some things, so I'm going to use this for the base. It's easy to cut and it's like weatherproof, I think. I'm gonna first I'm gonna take this apart after drawing out the curves that I want for the top shape of the pumpkin, because this shape isn't gonna work just yet. And then I'll take it apart, jigsaw those edges off, and then flip it over and glue this on. Things are going well so far. This is unprecedented. With the amount of stuff that I do just wearing Crocs, I need to invest in some steel-toed Crocs. Is that a thing? Let me know in the comments. This shape is not necessarily gonna work either, so I need to just like quickly lop off some of these corners. And then I'm going to flip it back over onto the foam mat and glue it down, nail it down, attach it somehow. Back to Chapel Roan I go. Okay, so I'm kind of figuring this out as I go. So the next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap the whole thing in this plastic garden mesh. I think I might be drilling some holes in the corners of this so that I can zip tie this on, because it's not thick enough to like nail or screw it to. And then once I do that, I'm going to start stuffing it with packing materials. And like I said, I have some pillows from the thrift store. Anything to really take up as much space in there as I can. I'm gonna come in with some nice cord and make those extra grooves, I guess, that a pumpkin has. Hoping all this is gonna work the way I am imagining it, so stick with me. I swear I've got like 30 pairs of scissors and I can never find a single one of them. I don't know. Drives me friggin' crazy. So I think I'm trying to fill it up too much when I can just put like a piece of cardboard that goes right here so that I'm only having to fill like a smaller portion of it, and then this will still like go inwards because I'm going to be building it up a little bit with the foam, so I'm not too worried about like what's going to be in the center. If it's empty space, that's fine. It's not going to collapse like against the cardboard, and if it does a little bit, not a big deal. So I think I'm going to take some of this out to redistribute it in the other crevices and stick some cardboard in this area. It's the great trash pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's looking rough right now, but it's the base that I needed, which is something that's super light. Like I can easily just lift this whole thing because it's like light wood, cardboard, trash. And I'm ready for spray foam, but I'm not going to do that now because it's been a long day. I'm hot and it's 2 million degrees in here right now. So plus it's date night, so I need to go home and shower and look presentable. See you in a couple days when I get back to this. Okay.
Several days later.
All right, so it's time for spray foam. I've got quite a few cans of great stuff and then some Loctite because it was on sale. Yeah, so let's get started just spraying the hell out of this thing. Okay, so I've used 9 cans of spray foam and I've barely gotten like a quarter of this filled in. I think I was making a mistake in the beginning where I was trying to fill in underneath the plastic mesh rather than on top of it, which is what I switched to over here. And that was like a lot more efficient use of the spray foam. But I'm gonna need to clear out a couple of racks of these tomorrow. It's too late to go and get some more right now. And I think it'd be useful to see how much it expands overnight. So off to a start. As you can see, it is puffed up quite a bit. Maybe not quite as much as I would like or need, but the good news is I have got so much more of this stuff that I think I've got plenty now. Each can ended up being about $3 after the bulk discount, and I got 30 cans. So like 90 bucks worth of foam. Still cheaper than if I had bought some giant foam pumpkin or bought a bunch of like big foam blocks, because those are super expensive. Doing okay so far. Something I noticed last night is that it was really hard to do the vertical surfaces, but I did a little bit of research, and if I start at the bottom, apparently that makes it a little easier, or it's not gonna be like dripping as much. I can lay it on its side gently and then just do those vertical parts as if they were horizontal. Yeah, so time to get spraying. This thing is quickly becoming a behemoth. The amount of spray foam I've used already is like insane, but I love it already, and it's starting to take shape. It's not there yet, but I think I can get it there. It's the great popcorn ball, Charlie Brown. Okay, I'll stop with the Charlie Brown things, but so yeah, it looks like a big old popcorn ball right now, and the way I'm gonna remedy that is by smoothing it out as much as I can, by sawing off to sculpt the whole thing. I've got myriad tools here for that process, and I don't know how deep I can cut with this, but it's gonna be a trial and error thing. Yeah, I've got a joint compound to patch all the holes that are gonna end up around here. Yeah, I'm just gonna start cutting. We've got a pumpkin. It's looking a little bit like a giant booty right now, but I think painting that is gonna solve that issue. I'm a mess right now, and I've got a dentist appointment in like 20 minutes, so I need to get cleaned up and go to that. But when I come back, it's gonna be time to patch all these holes. Hopefully with a joint compound, that'll do the trick. I'm pleased so far with my giant pumpkin booty. Well, call me a queen, because I'm getting a crown on my tooth. Don't be like me. Take care of your teeth, kids. All right, well, I'm going to bury my sorrow in finishing shaping this. I was looking at some pictures I had taken, and I'm not 100% happy with the shape yet. And I need to figure out how I'm going to put the face on this jack-o'-lantern. I might also need to fill in a couple of the bigger gaps with some more spray foam, because I feel like I'm never going to be done with this spray foam. And then I'm going to clean up and put in the joint compound finally. So here goes. Well, I've got this thing pretty much covered in the joint compound, and if I need to, I can go add another layer to a couple of the lower spots. But now I need to wait and let this cure for at least 24 hours, and then I can sand it and prime it. So we're getting there. It's looking so much like a pumpkin, I can't handle it. It's sanding time. Well, it's sanded, and there's so much stuff floating in the air that I'm just gonna let it air out for a minute before I start trying to prep this thing for the primer. But yeah, so next is primer. Let's go. Well, she's primed, and while I was hoping the primer would hide some of the surface imperfections, it, if anything, it, like, highlighted them, so that sucks. But I might have a plan to fix that. I don't know, we'll see. While the primer dries, I am going to make the stem up top, and I'm gonna make it out of some foam clay. Time for the stem. It's finally time to paint this big ol' bitch. Yeah. I'm gonna start out by dremeling in some better texture for the stem, and then I'm gonna tape off the area around it so that I can spray paint it like a base of greenish brown. Then I'm gonna spray paint the eyes, nose, mouth in a yellow. And then after that, I can go ahead and come in with like a latex exterior orange paint, coat the whole thing. And then I can go in with some darker orange to do like the accents that are gonna be a little bit darker. Let's get started. My God, it is so freaking orange. Yeah, it's a pumpkin, but this is like almost Dayglow orange. The orange paint was really hard to do because if you've ever painted like a textured wall, that's kind of what I was getting here. It definitely does not camouflage all the holiness and lumpiness of this either. Maybe the shading that I'm gonna do will, hopefully. I'm gonna wait for this to dry, and then it's time to shade it all. And then the lighting comes after that, which is really exciting. We're almost there, guys. It's not dry yet, but I just had a thought, you know, I need to stop being so hard on myself when it comes to projects. Like, this is a huge endeavor, and I am fulfilling a dream that I've had of a giant pumpkin since I was like 6 years old, trick-or-treating, and one of my neighbors had like a real giant pumpkin, and I was just like transfixed with this thing. And then also Halloweentown, giant pumpkin in the town square. It's looking pretty awesome. I mean, I built this from nothing, so I should be proud. I shouldn't be tearing it down because she's innocent. And, you know, maybe it's just one of those like grocery store pumpkins that has some flaws to it because it's an organic thing. I love her, and I love myself. Love yourself. Okay, let's wait for paint to dry. Okay, now it's time for the lighting. So the lighting itself, I've got these 1-foot LED strips that I'm going to be using for the eyes and the nose. And they all connect to like one thing, one channel, I guess. And I've got a longer one to do in the mouth. The plan was always to use these diffuser sheets and set them inside the eyes, like right in front of the LEDs, so that like you couldn't see the individual lights, but like it gave a whole like lit up effect. But I don't like the look of the white, and I feel like if I were to spray paint these yellow, then you're not going to be able to see through them as well. I'm going to do a little test sheet though. Or I could use some acrylic. If I spray painted these yellow, then maybe the light would be able to go through it. Once again, I'm going to have to do a test on that. But regardless of the method of diffusing that I'm going to use, I found these little dowels that I had randomly. I'm going to stick them inside the triangles to use as like a mounting point for the sheet of whatever I'm going to use. Okay, after using a bunch of mental gymnastics to figure out how to thread the LEDs through, finally got it. And then I was testing out either the acrylic or the diffuser sheet. The sheet is too white and it just looks stupid when it's not lit up, so I'm gonna scrap that idea. But if I do a light coat of the yellow spray paint on the acrylic, it turns out pretty good because it still looks yellow when the lights are not on and you can't see all the nitty-gritty inside. But when it's lit up, you can see the LEDs through it. So I think that's perfect. I need some more acrylic because I don't have enough scrap right now. And it's been a long, sweaty day, so I'm gonna call it a day. Then tomorrow I'm gonna put together the LEDs, and then I guess it's the reveal. So see you in the reveal. Oh my God, here she is. I kind of can't believe it turned out as good as it did. This was a real trust the process kind of project, and I am absolutely in love with this thing. When I was sitting here just like setting everything up, I looked over at it and I was like, this looks like a real prop that you would see like at a haunted house or I don't know, in a movie or something. And like, I am over the moon for this. It was so much work. I really wish I had access to like a huge block of foam or several blocks, because it would have been easier to carve something out of that rather than doing the million cans of spray foam. When all is said and done, I am really happy with how everything went, really. It ended up being probably a bit more expensive than I anticipated. I haven't added that up yet, so yeah, I think this isn't something you could buy, so you know, if I did spend a couple $100s on it, like I think it's worth it. I think it's awesome. This is like the coolest Halloween decoration I've ever had, and I can't wait to put it in my front yard in a couple of months. I'm really proud of myself. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something or learned what not to do. And yeah, still spooky season for a little while longer, so gonna be bringing you some more creepy stuff. If you're into that, then subscribe so that you can see it. Guess I'll see you next time.